What's up guys, Tommy Bowie here from Move Rewind. Welcome back to another instalment of Top 10 Scenes, a small series where I pick out some of my favourite films and highlight my personal top 10 scenes within those films. And today I thought I would do Tim Burton's Batman, released in 1989, starring Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton and Kim Bassinger, and of course directed by Tim Burton. Batman is definitely a film which has had a significant influence on comic book films. It completely reinvented Batman as a character from the more campy 1960s Adam West TV show, and in recent weeks it is a film which I have gone back to look at and have found a renewed appreciation for. I always thought this was a decent film, but having rewatched it recently, I can honestly say it's one of the best comic book films ever made. So, of course, now that all that's out the way, let's get on with the top 10 scenes from this film, because some scenes in this film do stand out more than others. Starting off, we have the I'm Batman scene. What a way to start this film. Because at first, it looks like it might be an origin story, in the sense that you have a mother and father and their son coming out of the theatre and going down a dark alley, which of course is reminiscent of when Thomas and Martha Wayne are shot by a mugger. But that doesn't actually happen. Instead, the father is mugged, two criminals run off, and then we see Batman. And I have to say, this is an iconic scene. The scene in which Batman confronts these two muggers and then holds one of them over the edge of a building and then says, "I'm Batman." I mean, there's a reason which every other actor who portrays Batman now is kind of measured on the "I'm Batman" line. But of course, all of those things have to start somewhere, and they start with this film. Michael Keaton, you know, a lot of people were unsure whether Keaton had it in him to portray this character. But from this scene alone, his very first scene, he nailed the role. And you can tell that the film was in safe hands with him as Batman. So yeah, an iconic scene, and one which I think had a significant influence on all Batman films that followed it. Next, we have the Axis chemicals scene. I really enjoyed this scene. It's the first proper action scene of the film. I like how Jack Napier is not a sympathetic character. I think I remember hearing the writers for this film say that they didn't want Jack Napier to be just anybody, just a sympathetic character like he sometimes is in the comics. Instead, they wanted him to already be a nasty piece of work. And I think this scene deals with it very well. I mean, he just shoots someone. Yeah, someone who's double-crossed him, but he doesn't even think twice. This shows that this man, even before he's become the Joker, is very willing to just kill people who he thinks have betrayed him. I also think Batman has a few good moments in this scene. I like him taking down the other mobsters. He moves around very silently, and I think that's a good thing. He doesn't just come in guns blazing. He's quite sneaky. You can tell that he's trying to understand his surroundings so that he can defeat them easier. Plus, I think this film nails Joker's origin story very well. I like how Jack ends up falling into the vat of chemicals. And one thing that I don't know why I never noticed when I was a kid watching this, when he shoots at Batman, it ricochets, and that's how he gets the smile, because it's the bullet that's ricocheted. So it's just one of those things which adds to it, that shows that obviously Jack is going to blame Batman for turning him into the Joker, because not only did he fall into the vat of chemicals which Batman failed to save him, he's also the reason he got the iconic grin. So yeah, I think the Axis chemical scenes works very well, and it's a very good initial action scene in the film. Next, we have Joker's surgery. Now, Joker's surgery, it's a small scene, but for me, it just sells Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and we haven't even seen his face yet. This is a very tense scene. I like the lighting done in this scene, in the sense that it's quite murky. Plus, of course, Nicholson's iconic laugh as the Joker. That was what sold his performance as Joker for me. It was that laugh. And as I said, it's great that we don't see his face at first. You're just left with that laugh. And I think that's great for a Joker. The fact that the most iconic thing about the Joker is that laugh. So I think it's great that we don't actually see his face first. We're left with the haunting sound of that cackle. So yeah, this scene was very good. It was very suspenseful. It was very tense. And it set up Joker very, very well. Next, we have Joker's reveal. Now, as I said, the Joker surgery scene, we hear his laugh, and that makes you excited. But this scene where he confronts crime boss Carl Grissom and we see his face reveal, it's a great scene. I mean, the score in this scene is epic. Danny Elfman, as always, does an amazing score, and I love his score for Joker. It's very carnival-like in the sense of you would think you'd hear this theme at a carnival or a circus, but it also sounds quite psychotic, so it perfectly fits the Joker. And I like how Nicholson has fun in this role. I mean, the Joker just starts shooting his gun, and even though Grissom is dead, he just keeps shooting it until the bullets run out. That is something the Joker would do because, of course, Joker is psychotic, he's insane, he finds pleasure in stuff which other people would think is just horrible. So yeah, I really think that this scene, which revealed Joker to the audience, was done very well, and Jack Nicholson killed it in scene 1, much like Michael Keaton did with Batman. We're halfway through the list, and I've chosen the party at the museum scene. Now this scene is iconic Joker. It starts off with Vicky Vale, you know, she's at this museum, she's been lured there by Joker, pretending that he's Bruce Wayne, and then everyone in the museum is killed by Joker gas. And then we have Joker burst in, and he starts playing Prince, Party Man, and then he's just running around the museum with his henchmen, and they're all just throwing stuff, throwing paint at the paintings, defacing all the paintings, and basically ruining any artwork in the museum. And I love it, because it's one of those scenes where it's actually quite dark, because he's just killed hundreds of people. And yet, you can't help but smile, because he's just dancing around. And I think that's something only the Joker could get away with. So yeah, I really like this scene. I know some people say, you know, oh, with the Prince song, it kind of feels a bit out of place. I thought it fit quite well, because obviously this is Joker. He's insane. Nothing he does really makes any sense. So yeah, I thought this was a great introduction to Vicky Vale seeing the Joker. And I am shocked that she turned him down, because, you know, his dance moves were something else. Next, I've chosen the back alley brawl. Obviously, this is one of the very few action scenes in this film. There's not actually loads of action scenes in this film, so the ones that appear do stand out. This is a very well choreographed back alley brawl. I like how Batman just dominates all of these thugs, like they're no actual problem for him whatsoever. I also like when the guy with the swords come out. Part of you's expecting like a really long drawn out fight scene, but no, Batman's able to defeat him in a couple of punches. So yeah, I really like this back alley brawl. I think the choreography is handled very well. I also think it shows that Batman's capable of holding his own. Plus, you know, I think it's a good interaction between Batman and Vicky Vale as well, especially as Vicky decides to try and take pictures of Batman, kind of highlighting that at that stage, Vicky is still very much just thinking about her job and what would help her. So yeah, I really enjoy this scene. Next, I've chosen the Batcave. Now, this might surprise some of you because it's quite a brief scene, but I think it's handled very well. I mean, this is the reveal of the Batcave, and of course, many people obviously going in to see this film would have only been familiar with the Batcave from the Adam West TV show, which was kind of more colourful, and everything was branded with Bat before it. This is a very different kind of Batcave. This is more gothic, this is darker, and I think it fits very well. Plus, this is one of the first times we really hear Batman have an extended conversation, especially with Vicky Vale, and I think it's handled very well. There are a lot of shots in this which I think are done incredibly well. It makes Batman appear a very intimidating and very serious character. And I like how Vicky interacts with Batman during this scene, because Vicky just kind of acts like a normal person. She asks normal questions. And I think that's Vicky's role in this film. She is the audience in many ways. You know, she's the one that we can all relate to. So yeah, I think that this scene is handled very well. And not only does the Batcave look magnificent, but we also get Michael Keaton's performance as Batman, which I think holds this scene together even more. Next, we have the murder of the Waynes, where, of course, the revelation that it was actually Jack Napier who killed Bruce's parents. I don't think this is a bad twist in terms of this film. it gives everything a personal edge, because obviously up till this point we just think that Batman wants Joker taken down because he's a new crime boss, he's causing loads of deaths, he's causing loads of destruction, and Batman just doesn't want that. But this adds a personal reason for why Bruce is so invested in taking down Joker, because this is the man who killed his parents. And once again, I think it's a great scene at showing that Jack Napier was always a psychopath. I mean, he just kills Bruce's parents for no real reason. He didn't need to kill them, but he just chooses to because he can. And I think it's handled very well. It's a great plot twist. It gives a personal reason for Bruce to despise Joker heading into the finale, because obviously the audience wants Bruce to get his revenge, because now we know how much taking down the Joker is going to mean for him personally. Next, we have the Cathedral Showdown. I really enjoy the final action scene in the Cathedral. Once again, the choreography is handled very well. I love Batman's fight with that one guy who just won't go down. Plus, when Batman eventually does win, it's brutal. I mean, he throws that guy's head against a cathedral bell and then just throws him down. So yeah, I think Batman's really good at taking out thugs during this scene. Plus, I like his final confrontation with Joker. I like the idea of, well, yeah, I technically created Joker, but you were the one who created Batman. So I really like that dynamic. Plus, I never really had a problem with Joker dying in this film. For the simple reason, I just think it goes full circle, in the sense that Batman finally gets his revenge. As Batman, he's able to take down a powerful crime lord that was causing so much chaos in Gotham City. And as Bruce Wayne, he was able to finally avenge his parents' deaths by taking down Jack Napier. So yeah, I have no problem with Joker's death in this film. And plus, I think his death is very brutal. I mean, he falls... Well, he just falls from the cathedral. And I love that when we're shown Joker's deceased body, he's got that laughter on a track. It's just like Joker getting the final laugh once again, and obviously that's something that the Joker would do. He'd be more concerned about leaving a bit of a creepy atmosphere around his death than just him dying. So yeah, I think that this was a great final showdown in the cathedral. I like how we get a lot of interactions between Batman and Joker. Obviously, actually, this is one of the only scenes we actually see Batman and Joker together actually talking. We haven't really seen that throughout the whole film, so that really makes it stand out. And I think it's a well done scene. It's well choreographed, well acted, and Joker's death is very well done. And the final scene is, of course, the final scene of the film, and that is the bat signal. I love this scene. Much like the original Spider-Man film, it's one of those scenes which just fills you with optimism and hope, because obviously Batman is now trusted by the police, he's trusted by Gotham City, and he is now Gotham's watchful protector. And I think that's just done so well. I love the score. As I've said a couple of times, Danny Elfman, pure genius. I love the final score in this film because it's very triumphant, because Batman won. The Joker was defeated, Batman won, so good triumphed over evil. And the final shot, as you can probably see on the screen right now, it's an iconic shot. Batman looking up at the bat signal, knowing that he is now trusted by Gotham City. And I just think that was handled really well. It's a great final scene, and it leaves a really good impression on the viewer, which makes them feel very optimistic and hopeful about the future for Gotham. So anyway, they were my top 10 personal favourite scenes for Tim Burton's Batman. Honestly, Tim Burton's Batman is a film which I always thought was decent. It's actually the first Batman film I ever saw. I was fortunate enough to see it on TV. My dad sat me down when I was like 6 years old and said, "Oh yeah, there's this Batman film on TV. You should watch it." And I always enjoyed it. But having watched it a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of gobsmacked at how great it actually was. And I think that's because, we live in a world now where comic book films are everywhere. You know, we've had tons of comic book films. And this film, despite the fact that it was released in 1989, still feels so fresh. It's something different. Tim Burton was the perfect director for a more grounded, dark and gothic Batman film. And plus, the casting in this was so on point. Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I mean, he's iconic. You know, his portrayal is up there with some of the best. You know, he really does fit that role so well. Michael Keaton as Batman. I get that at the time, loads of people were upset about Keaton portraying this character. And yet, he's just perfect in it. And I love, I've actually seen online when Michael Keaton accepted an award for his portrayal. He basically says, you know, he calls out the people who didn't like his casting. It's like, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. Wait to see the final product. And I think that's something which a lot of people in the modern world need to take seriously, in the sense that before you start having a go at poor casting or poor director decisions, just wait until you've seen the final product, because you might be surprised, just like nearly everyone was when they went to see Michael Keaton in this film. So yeah, Batman, one of the best comic book films. I think it's one which is still fresh to this very day. And yeah, it's a great film. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. And I will see you in another one. See ya!